in the lightweight division, we have, whoa, I didn't know he was 36, but we got Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. Sonic Hedgehog. Okay, we got Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. This is an interesting fight because the only two losses Dustin has had since 2019 has been Charles and Khabib, who have been, you know, spectacular as of late. And
no, this is an interesting fight because they both lost to Charles, and Charles just lost. He just lost to Islam. Now, I don't think either one of those fighters think they can beat Charles. But now because Islam is champion, I think both of them think they can beat Islam. Well, I don't know about Dustin because the way he lost to Khabib.
Well, I'm looking at Michael Chandler's record, man, and I got to be flat out honest here. The Charles Oliveira law, okay, I'm not really too much pressing on that one. But the win against Dan Hooker has aged poorly.
How can you say that though? Because it's
what do you mean?
You know what I'm saying that his performance. No, I'm saying his performance against Dan started that. Because then Dan went on to lose a lot of fights. Doesn't make sense.
No, he lost to Dustin Poirier.
No, but I'm saying he lost. No, I'm saying Dan Hooker lost to Dustin, which is real close. You could argue he won against Dustin, right? And then he lost to Michael. But when he got knocked out by Michael, he lost to Nazareth.
Ultimately, no. The point I'm making is Hooker has lost 4 of his last 5, which cheapens the win that Michael has over him. That's what I'm saying. Regardless of who started it, at the end of the day, you beat somebody who went on to lose a bunch of fights, and they getting finished in the first round. Look, first round. This win has aged poorly because that's not going to happen to Dustin. In fact, Dustin the one that set it off.
I see what you're saying. There's only one thing I have to say about that.
Dustin went 5 rounds with him, and then Michael got him out of there in the first round.
That, and also the fact that Michael knocked out Dan Hooker, who was he has one of the best chins in the UFC. Or he at least did at that point. So it's not the fact that he beat Dan Hooker. He knocked out somebody who was hard to knock out.
Which that is the most impressive thing.
Kind of like it's kind of like when Mark Hunt knocked out Roy Nelson. It's not the fact that you beat him, you knocked out.
But what happened is it set off a chain of him getting knocked out after that as well. But the point I'm making is that this win has aged poorly. On top of that, he was the 5th loss for Tony Ferguson in a row, or 1, 2, 3, 4. This win has aged poorly as well
because he was losing, man, and he got
and he was losing on top of that before he threw like a random front kick. I don't believe that Michael Chandler is going to beat Dustin Poirier. I think it's going to be a good fight for as long as it lasts. And I'm gonna tell you another thing: in the Justin Gaethje fight, they went to war for that first round, but after that, Justin pretty much took over. And what's bad about that is not the fact that he took over. It's the fact that Michael's cardio failed him terribly. His cardio completely went out the window, and he was just throwing like one punch at a time, just hoping. I mean, I think there was a pickup slam or something that happened in between that in an exchange, which was good. It takes energy to do that, but
the only thing is there was moments where Michael could have won. Because even, I want to say, was it the second round where he got dropped with the uppercut? If he don't get dropped with that, he wins that round.
Yes.
So it was just certain moments that happened that kind of lost him that fight. But the only thing is, you got to look at the fact that Michael is a knockout artist. Does he have a good matchup? Does he have stylistically? Is he a bad matchup for Dustin? You got to understand this. Though.
You know the thing is, it's a 3-round fight, and we know that Dustin got 5 rounds in him of war. Michael have gone to war a few times in the past. That was a long time ago in 5-round fights against Eddie Alvarez. But in 2022, I know that Dustin can go to war for 25 minutes against tough opponents outside of Khabib. And, you know, Charles is one of the best finishers we've ever seen in the UFC. But Michael Chandler has one, like, magnificent round to him. He was actually losing that round against Tony. If he was losing the first round against Tony, I'm pretty sure Dustin can beat you as well and not get caught with a front kick in the second round. And I just don't. Michael's cardio is what really just bothers me, man. I just can't overlook that. I know he's super dangerous in that first round, but are you going to knock Dustin out with one punch?
And then Michael has this thing where he's just missing punch after punch after punch. I can see him just missing against Dustin.
And I'm going to tell you something else.
But if he land, though, you know.
If he land, but I'm going to tell you another reason why Michael going to lose. Michael he knows when he's gonna lose a fight. Like he knew when he was losing that Justin Gaethje fight. But you know what his thing was? I'm gonna make it exciting. I'm gonna get a fight night bonus, and I'm gonna make sure that when I get on the mic, I can still say, you know, were you not entertained? Yeah. He knows when he's beat, and he knows, okay, don't get finished and keep fighting through it. That way, I'm not getting finished, and it's still a good fight of the year candidate. Dustin is gonna go in there to win. Man, fighting Conor McGregor twice, well, 3 times. Those last 2 times, what bigger fight is there for Dustin? And Khabib, man.
But that fight don't hold a lot of weight either, because Conor ain't. Yeah. It's kind of a shell of
That's
himself,
true,
man.
Yeah, I guess I.
And another thing is, Conor is Michael, but Michael Chandler is kind of like Conor, but he has better takedown defense.
But I'm gonna tell you something. The reason why the Conor fight is a little bit more significant, even though it has not aged as well, the amount of spotlight on a Conor McGregor fight in itself, just the sheer pressure of that fight, is different than the Dan Hookers and the Tony Fergusons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So. That's a lot, man. You can break from the lights on that fight. Like the lights can get real bright and you can freeze up like Jose did. But I just think that with the boxing, with the pressure, and Dustin has shown, man, that he can fight somebody who has a lot of knockout power, who is real dangerous in the first round. He knows how to deal with that because Conor, if Conor ain't got nothing else, Conor got that. And that's what him and Michael kind of have in common. Man, they got that first round that's just so dangerous where anything can happen. But Dustin has shown he can get past that. In fact, he actually got past it in the first round against Charles and just fumbled later on as the fight went on. So Dustin just, I could just see Michael being right here, man, as another W. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but what Michael brings to the table, Dustin knows how to handle that well. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't, because Dustin's takedown defense is 64%. I'm looking at, can Michael, say like if these rounds are super close, he got this crazy double-leg takedown.
What do you mean if the rounds are super close when we know that Michael's cardio significantly drops after the first round?
All you got to do is win 2 rounds. I'm saying like,
that's saying a lot.
For example, like the first round against Tony, you can argue that Michael won the first round. So say like if the first round against him and Dustin is real close, but he get a double-leg takedown, okay, he can actually steal.
How many takedowns did Michael miss against Tony though?
But he got 1. That's all that mattered.
Yeah, but Dustin not somebody who just gets taken down and held down though. Outside of Khabib, that's complete. That's not.
I'm not saying he's gonna get held down, bro, but that's still points.
But how many times did Dustin lose by getting taken down like that? Like who just holds Dustin down like that?
What wrestler has he fought against other than Khabib?
What person has Michael fought lately?
Justin Gaethje.
Okay. Let me ask you this though: how many takedowns did Michael get against Justin? He had that one take, and I think he still lost that round when he slammed him.
But Justin is a natural-born wrestler, though.
But Dustin has great MMA wrestling. You could argue that his takedown defense is better than Justin in MMA. Man, when it's all said and done, the way Michael fights, his most dangerous thing is that knockout power and that first round and the beginning of that second round. Dustin knows how to deal with that because Charles was super dangerous in that first round. Conor McGregor was very dangerous in that first round. We can't really bring up the Dan Hooker thing, but, you know, I'm looking at this man and what Michael does best, Dustin is one of the best, if not the best person suited to be able to beat him based on the best attributes that Michael brings to the table. And we know that Dustin is in it for the long haul. Dustin is in it for war. And I'm not talking about an exciting back and forth fight where y'all kind of swing in the air, like how the Justin fight, they were just kind of swinging as the fight went on, and it wasn't a bunch of landing. They were both tired. We know Dustin gonna be walking him down, like landing, like beating him down. Rounds 2 and 3 ain't gonna be close at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished Michael Chandler later on in the fight, because at some point, it ain't gonna be about knockout power. It's gonna be about cardio and pressure. And we know Dustin has way more of that as the fight goes on. If this fight go past the first round, which I'm sure it will, I think Dustin wins the decision. If not, gets him out of there. I think this is gonna be a little bit more clear-cut win than what Justin had over Michael. I think this will be a little bit more definitive win. Like instead of it being like 2 rounds to 1, I can see. I don't know, because I feel like some of those rounds, like you said, that fight with Justin, if it weren't for him getting dropped, Michael probably would have won that round. So I do agree there. And Justin kind of, I don't want to say he got lucky, but he, you know, he hit the nail on the head when he landed that punch. And the way that Michael dropped and everything just made it more dramatic. But I can see Dustin winning more definitively in rounds 2 and 3. And that's not to say that even if he don't win round 1, I can see him going 3-0 or 2-0. I mean, at some point, cardio has got to be a factor, man. You can't just have one great round in you. Does that make sense? You can't just have one great round and a bunch of knockout power.
We done seen Dustin hurt a couple times. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we seen him get past it too. And Dustin knows what to do to not get finished at this point. Like some kind of way, he's just learned like how to deal with it.
Dan Hooker, man, and he shooting for takedowns, and bro, you get hurt by Michael Chandler, the fight gonna be over with.
Did Dan Hooker hurt Michael too?
No, they both hurt each other.
Okay, so that means Dan hurt Michael at the same time.
Oh yeah, they both hurt each other.
And let's not pretend, man, like Michael didn't throw a absolute nuke of a punch.
I said Dan Hooker hurt Dustin Poirier.
Oh, but did he hurt Michael Chandler? At some point in that fight?
Hell no, he didn't throw nothing. I don't think he landed anything in that fight.
Yeah, I think that fight.
I think he got it perfect on him.
No, that fight was 2 minutes and 30 minutes. He had to land something.
Oh, he landed 8 strikes.
But they was kind of bouncing in and out. Like they were both trying to see who was gonna make a mistake. But I'm saying if Michael doesn't land that punch and get Dan out of there, Dan probably would have won that fight. Well, I mean, ain't no point of going to hypotheticals. Yeah. But if he didn't land that one, with just for the cardio, man, look, I saw everything I needed to see in the Justin fight, the Justin Gaethje fight. And the longer the fight goes on and the more grueling it gets, Michael's cardio, because he's throwing those big bombs, if you don't land them, it does cost you energy. And Michael feed off the crowd, and he gets into this mode where it's like gladiator mode where I'm entertaining the crowd. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like, he ain't making the best decisions. And again, sometimes he can kind of realize, okay, my cardio kind of out the window. I'm gonna make it just a great fun fight at the very least. Does that make sense? I'm gonna go out on my shield. Dustin is more like, I'm gonna beat you down until you cave in. I'm gonna beat you down to the last bell. I'm landing. I'm finna get you out of there. You finna fold. You finna break. You're done. And I don't have to get one punch knockout.
You can't act like we didn't forget that Dustin last fight, he gassed after the first round.
Man, do you know Charles and who did that happen against? And who else did Charles beat? And Charles beat him after he dropped him.
Who came the closest to beating Charles though?
You could argue Dustin, because Dustin dropped him like 2 or 3 times.
No, but when Michael dropped Charles,
Charles was on his back in 1 minute. After
one point Charles, his head was laying against the ground.
Charles had his back at the end of that round, bro. So we can't even go there, man. We can't, you know.
I'm saying he came the closest to finish with where Frey was like, oh,
not really, man, because when you start getting dropped 2 and 3 times, it gets to a point where even if it's not the worst drop in the world, the numbers, the sheer number of times you getting dropped, it has to call for concern. And it's like, hey, man, he's kind of hitting you hard to where you keep falling every time. I might need to stop this if you get hit again. So you could argue that probably was the closest up until the last fight, but
I see what you're saying. The way to beat Dustin is on the ground. Habib, that's what he had most of.
That's his only real weakness, and it's only a real weakness against the 2 people who are the best lightweights ever in the totality of the history, not just who's the champion now, but in the totality of it all, Khabib and Charles. And maybe Islam. If this was an Islam, this might be different. I might have to be like, hey man, Islam style kind of resemble Khabib, and Islam did beat Charles. This would be a little tougher fight for me. But man, Michael goes into that I'm gonna entertain the world mode, and I don't care if I'm getting dropped or dropping. I'm gonna get dropped and still keep hit me, put my hands down, keep hit me, and it's like he goes into that mode, man. Man, I know you getting you trying to get that extra 50,000. I ain't mad at you. I know that even if you lose exciting fights, you're still exciting, and he knows at this point in the game get paid. But he might go in and try to really win, because if outside of the cardio, Michael Chandler might have the best chance of beating Islam.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't really pick Dustin because, like I said, Islam resembles like a Khabib mixed with a little bit of Charles, because he actually go for submissions. That's very dangerous for Dustin in a lot of aspects. I can see a 50-50 fight with Dustin and Islam, but Michael, if Michael had better cardio, I could see Michael being a nightmare for Islam. If Michael really put in a really good camp and his cardio is better, and he's really not willing to go to war, because Dustin willing to go to war and win. Michael settled into this mode where he's just willing to go to war as long as people like to fight. And I don't like that. I need Michael to be in a, I want to go to war, but I want to come out on top. That way I can get a title fight, because I think he will be a nightmare matchup for Islam for at least 2 rounds. Now, after that, I think Islam fold him up like a lawn chair, and he might put him in a figure 4 lock like Ric Flair and make him tap out. He might put him in the walls of Jericho.
But the question is, how many fights do Dustin Poirier even got left in him, bro? He's talking about retiring and stuff, man. So psychologically, is Dustin gonna be focused on Michael Chandler?
Yeah, because Michael made him mad. That's the thing. If this was another fight where it was like a high-profile fight and the person didn't bring out no emotion, like if this was him versus, I don't know, Benito, I'd be like, eh.
Another thing is, Dustin knows he can't beat Islam. So it's like, what happens when you what happens if you do beat Michael some kind of way?
Hey, but in a weird way, that's a terrible matchup for Dustin, but it's also like a good matchup. It's weird. That's a 50-50 fight. He just needs to get there. But that's also the same way with Michael. That's like it's stylistically, it's kind of a bad matchup, but at the same time, hey, if Michael can defend the takedown and pop Islam one good time, man, that fight might be over with. And I think they both kind of know that, man. This is a #1 contender fight. You know that, right? Yeah. I don't know who else is up there.
I don't think so, man. You got Benito. You got Benito up there. You got Volkanovski.
Yeah, but I don't know if they can just really sell the Benito fight quite yet. Something about Benito, man. He always seemed like no matter how many fights he wins, he still need another one. I don't know why. But, man, I got to pick Dustin just because I know he can go to war and win, not just go to war and have fun. I don't know, man.
My pick is Michael. I think he's going to mix in the wrestling. I'm not saying he's going to hold down Dustin for 3 rounds. That's not possible. But I think it's a striking. He's going to punch off balance and stuff, man. Like, he's so unpredictable. You got the left hook you got to look out for. You got the overhand right. Like, you're not looking for no takedown. That's the last thing you're worried about when you fight Michael Chandler.
That's fair.
He easily can get the takedown, not because he's a great wrestler. It's because you're not going to see it coming. You're not going to expect it because you're looking out for the punches.
So let's not pretend like Michael Chandler can't be taken down either. And let's not pretend like when his cardio goes out the window, everything kind of goes out the window. He just got that knockout power is still there, and you still got to watch out for it. But after the first round, their wrestling ain't going to really be.
Another thing is Dustin has this thing where when he hurts his opponent, he goes for the knockout, and sometimes he can be a little bit reckless. If you notice, when Dustin hurts his opponent, he goes for it, man. Yeah. And like Michael can catch him coming in with left hook.
But with the kind of fights, Dustin showed that he can break people down in a smart way and not go in reckless. Because the old Dustin used to go in. That's how he got knocked out a few times. But the newer Dustin kind of showed, like, I think that the preparing for Conor fight, it really molded him into a diamond for real, man. Like, he can handle that pressure. He can finish Michael. And then, man, it's crazy because when Michael hurt Justin, Michael went in to hurt. I mean, he went in to finish Justin and got rocked and almost knocked out himself. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? How many times did Michael hurt Justin and almost got knocked out subsequently? So everything you're saying applies directly to Michael too.
I see what you're saying, but Justin is that dude, man. Justin's underrated. Like, people forgot that he was sleeping everybody years ago. So, like, I understand, like, he lost to.
Another thing is, one thing, you can break Michael Chandler down with the leg kicks. And then that can really shut the takedowns down, man. But I'm gonna tell you one thing that's very dangerous is Dustin is a southpaw. And that opens him up for that overhand right from Michael Chandler. And that's kind of bad. It's kind of bad. Because, if that lands.
It's so weird talking about this fight because I think Michael gonna win this one. But this is probably where it ends for Michael Chandler.
Probably the same for Dustin too.
No, but Dustin, like you said, like, he's more of a 5-round. If Dustin fought Islam in some kind of way he survived and got to the 3rd round, it's a wrap. He could do whatever he wants to Islam. But I'm saying, like, the thing is with like Michael, like you said, he fight exciting, he fight for the crowd. Bro, you're not gonna be champion fighting like that, man.
No, because you got away with it a few times by giving spectacular fights, man. The Charles fight was magnificent. The Justin fight was magnificent, but
he didn't look too bad against Charles.
He actually didn't look bad at all. Like, Charles really kind of came out and did that. He kind of hit him with the doop, 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 and just kind of put him down. But the Justin fight, you know, in that 2nd round when he kind of settled into, my cardio's gone, I'm going to give y'all the fight of the year. I was like, no, man. Charles would have pushed through that. Islam would have pushed through that. All these guys who want the belt, they pushed. And I know that's easier said than done. I'm just sitting back here talking, but I'm saying for the mentality, if you want to fight for the belt, man, you might have to fight. Or you might have to fight for 3 tough rounds or 5 tough rounds to get that opportunity. You can't just have 1 or 2 good rounds and then be like, all right, I'm going to just give y'all a hell of a fight. No, man, you got to be willing to go all the way to the end and come out on top. And I know Dustin is.
Yeah, if Michael Chandler actually went to the body more, I would pick him, man. Which I'm picking him regardless. But he'd be almost unstoppable. But especially against Dustin, he has a high guard. And like he has this thing where he go back straight back against the cage and he pushes his hands up completely. Yeah, like his body is kind of exposed a little bit. But Michael, he steady head hunts, overhand right, left hook. It's like, bro, most of your punches are gonna be blocked. I won't be surprised if Michael don't land nothing.
But Michael is a very smart striker though, man. Like he'll do something like you would think he finna throw an overhand right. He might throw an uppercut and all that power just when your hands all the way up and you just get hit with an uppercut. It's like, oh, like he'll do something like that. And then I hope he don't get. I know he's too smart now to be trying to go for that that front knee. But I can see he goes for these flying knees like randomly. Hey, one of them might land and you might get clipped going for that kind of stuff at this stage of the game. I'm expecting a good fun fight. I'm expecting Michael to more than likely win the first round. I think it's going to get grueling.
Dustin's going to take the first round off.
I think the first, I don't know.
He has history kind of doing that a little bit, man. He'll just read his opponent.
But he's been in a lot of 5-round fights too, so where he could do that. But in a 3-round fight, I think this might be a toss-up, man, because remember, who won the first round between Michael and Justin?
Michael, that's the only
round he won. But remember, he almost got knocked out even in that. Remember, he was.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is really like kind of a crazy fight, man. I can see it. It's 50-50, but I know that Dustin can go the whole time and come out.
Do Dustin got chin like Justin, though?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. You remember he showed it when he fought Justin and he put him out.
They don't mean your chin better. You beat somebody, they don't mean your chin better.
Yeah, no, but the way they went to war, that did prove it. Because he didn't just go out there and knock him out in 1 round. They both was hitting each other. They went to a war. Remember that? We watched that fight.
Going to the body, other person
man, they went to a war, man. We watched that fight live and we was like, yo.
I'm talking about, can Dustin take the shots on his chin the way Justin did?
He won't get hit that much because it ain't like Michael throws an accumulation of punches like that. Normally he just hit you once clean and you either out of there or you just in a lot of trouble. And lately it's been hitting people and not really landing a knockout blow, but kind of hurting them because at this stage in the game, people using footwork, they're using head movement and stuff. So you ain't just landing clean like that. And so you kind of more hurting them than knocking them out clean. And I think Dustin can survive if Michael hurts him. Does that make sense? But I think that Dustin could also overwhelm Michael over the course of 3 rounds. But you got a good argument, though.
Dang, when was the last time Dustin was in a 3-round fight? God damn. It's been, was it Anthony Pettis? That was his last 3-round fight. And he destroyed Anthony. Yeah, I think, dude, I'm going with Michael. It's a 3-round fight, man. He come off a knockout of the year.
He's been losing a lot of them, but
he's coming off a damn near a knockout of the year against.
But that's what
But that's not how Tony lose, though. That's not how Tony lose. You get what I'm saying?
But man, Tony also just got submitted too. That ain't not how you look. Like it's getting worse. The Tony next fight, he might go in there and get flying.
Nate Diaz on short notice. He literally fought Nate Diaz, who you didn't prepare for. That you were preparing for. You were preparing for a 3-round fight, and then you fight Nate Diaz on 1 day's notice. But
I'm saying the point is, the losses are getting worse and worse. I wouldn't be surprised if he get flying heel hook like Rio Chona and did Anderson Silva in his next fight by Clay Guida. Nothing would surprise me at this point, man. So those losses, those wins are not aging well, but Dustin's losses are aging magnificently. Like the Charles loss is aging. I mean, he lost to Islam. Who cares? I mean, it was a 50-50 fight anyway. And he lost to Khabib. Those wins are aging like spectacularly. So, I mean, if that's the worst he got on his record is losing to the greatest of all time, it's like, yeah.
And he had moments against both of them. He almost guillotined
Khabib. And then meanwhile, Michael looked like great against Tony and Dan Hooker. I'm sorry, man. I'm going with Dustin.
I'm going to go with Michael, man. I'm going to go with that left hook. Michael winning by left hook in the first round.
Even if he hurt him with it, he's still going to get knocked out trying to go in for the finish. I guarantee you he will.
Dustin don't fight like that.
He doesn't. In his last fight, he did. I mean, the 2 fights ago, he almost got knocked out cold by Justin.
I'm saying, but Dustin is not the type of guy. He's gonna weather the storm.
He's gonna cover up.
He's gonna break you down. Then he's gonna walk forward and he's gonna start throwing punches. He's not no counter puncher. Dustin's not gonna try to like.
But remember against Conor, he started clipping Conor like 2 minutes in that fight. Then he was pointing at him like, "Yeah, I'm starting to catch you. Yeah, come on in if you want to. I'm gonna pop you." And remember, that's when he started breaking him down. The breaking down don't start on the next round. The breakdown start after he get a read on your movement and stuff after like 2 minutes. And then it's like, that's when it starts. He don't do the Piotr Jan, let me give up the whole round and then start fighting. That old BS. But yeah, I see what you're saying though.